Sit, turn, type, sit. Good boy. Ruff. Champion Entertainment Wrestling presents Wrestling for a Cause 2, Save the Tatas, a fundraiser for breast cancer awareness. Queensboro's Elks Lodge, October 18th. Doors open at 6 p.m., bell time 7 p.m. Be sure to check out Eventbrite for tickets. Get your tickets at eventbrite.com. For Championship Entertainment presents Wrestling for a Cause 2, Save the Tatas. Queensboro's Elks Lodge, October 18th. Be a part and do a part for breast cancer awareness.
I am feeling under the weather, but thank God Jay is here for assistance. So,
like I'm feeling any better than you are. I'm over here loaded up on Zyrtex and whatever fucking NyQuil is available for me. Let me tell you something, guys. That whole theory about NyQuil getting you drunk and putting you to sleep is not a myth. It is legit. And boy, do you get some sleep from that shit.
I haven't taken that yet, but I'll cross that bridge when I have to. But we are not alone. We're here with the founder, promoter, and booker of Respect Wrestling, Ray Ramundo. How are you doing?
I'm that guy now. Shit. Yeah, I'm that guy now. What's going on, everybody?
Not used to all three of those titles?
No, not at all, and it's still weird to me. But we're here.
I mean, we're pretty much, a couple months, or at least a month away out from your show, your first ever show, and it was a big success, so. And now you have another show coming up in November, so. But we did want you to come back. Well, we come here for another, I think we've been on here before. We talked about land representation in wrestling, so happy to have you back. And like I told everybody before, we're having special guests come on, talk about their favorite wrestlers and good career retrospectives. And your favorite wrestler of all time is Rey Mysterio. So just give us a brief synopsis on why Rey Mysterio is one of your favorites.
It's because we share a name. No, that should have been the easy joke. But no, it's the earliest memory I have of wrestling is watching guys like Rey Mysterio, the Guerreros. Just they made such an impact on the industry that it's hard not to be that be one of my favorites. Earliest memories I have is that iconic match that everyone says is the reason that got them into wrestling. Unfortunately, the cliche, I'm there too. Like Rey Mysterio, such an innovator, such a trailblazer that again, it's hard not to fall in love with the guy. And just seeing what that's done years later and how that impacted the industry that we're going to get into in a little bit. He's the guy.
So when we talk about Rey Mysterio, to the average fan or to somebody outside wrestling entirely, what would you say stands out about Rey Mysterio besides, like overall look and wrestling style, but what would you say describes him as a whole?
I think the easiest what transcends to everyone, this is why, even to people that aren't wrestling fans, they know Rey Mysterio. It's the mask. If there's anyone that has the trademark look and has the trademark that there's something to him, it's his mask. Outside of also being able to do what he does at his size and be such a pioneer in the business in a land of giants, as we've called it, being the size he was at the time. Which again, that's why I say how much it's impacted because of a guy like Rey Mysterio, you now have a plethora of amazing talent that have also stepped up that aren't the body guy or aren't the size of most competitors in there.
As far as how he started, he started at a young age. Does that shock you in any way? Because I think in today's wrestling, or at least still going on in today's product, there's still people who are wrestling young, but does that still have an effect on people when people say that as a fact?
I wouldn't.
Or does it really matter?
At this point now, no. Back then, it definitely. I don't know. I don't think it was as common. Like to start at the age of 14 to debut at the age of 14. That's the difference too. That it's like again, people start training very early. Like you look at now the Javon Evans, the Jackson Drakes, who they've said they've started training at that age, but to officially debut somewhere, to debut in Mexico and to be wrestling at such a young age, where a lot of times it isn't the most recommended because your body's not fully developed at that point. Like you look at that, Rey Mysterio there is barely. He's I think in his early 20s at that point when he debuted.
Right.
Like it's not the I don't know if the safest at the time to be wrestling at 14, but hey, he did it and still going now. Like it just shows you.
Just a quick heads up, Rey Mysterio, for guys who don't know, was born Oscar Gutierrez at December 11, 1974, which makes him close to 51 years old. To think that a guy that has been doing it for that long is still doing it at a high level to this day it's an amazing accomplishment. Like Ray mentioned, started training when he was 14 years old by his uncle, and was really a buzz during the scene in San Diego and as well as in Mexico, where he would begin his first entry into the ropes and such. Ray, when you first heard of the Mysterio, even the Mysterios back in the early days, were they like a considered a legacy family from that time?
I don't think at the time it was, just because of it went from his uncle then to him. Now it definitely has become one of the legendary family, especially now that we have Dominic. But I knew of his uncle, not to the degree of like, let's say like the Guerreros that everyone knew about, the Mondos, Hectors, and so on. But when you get to this, now it's like now it's definitely it's royalty family, especially in Mexico, where it's the Mysterios, like, which again, perfect that Jay mentioned. It is his uncle. Everyone thinks, oh, that has to be his dad. It's like, no, funny enough, his uncle's son now wrestles under also a Mysterio banner. So it's like, no, that guy actually had a kid that wrestles, but the one that's world famous, Rey Mysterio Jr., is the nephew.
And is there a specific like style you would like look wise you classify it like his like a gear? At least like early on, I would say.
Early on, it definitely it resembled a lot of that lucha libre style. Like it was very to the T of you would have the more vibrant colors. It was real life superheroes to a T. That 2 years later, we get the very elaborate outfits of Rey Mysterio getting to replicate a bunch of superheroes and getting to really get into very abstract designs and gear looks, to the point of getting that cease and desist, unfortunately. Because it's looking too good. But especially even as early on, like it's crazy to look at the young age. When I believe he used was it Aguila that he was? I gotta fact check that. But his earlier mask was still something where it was so I don't want to use basic, but it was such a simple design that still stood out, you know.
So
Early. Oh, sorry. Just quickly. Many wrestling fans believe that Rey Mysterio got his start in WCW, but in actuality, he began his career in '95 with ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling.
Yep.
He made his debut at Gangsta's Paradise, defeating another well-known luchador of that era as well, known as Psychosis. who was also making his ECW debut.
Right.
Talk about two guys that were attached to the hip at one point, basically, with how they transcended from company to company.
Right, and a lot of the stuff that they were doing in ECW, nobody's really seeing. I mean, hurricanranas off cars, hurricanranas off balconies. I mean, this was a lot of stuff that nobody was used to in the States. I mean, when you have like those guys, also guys like Conan, like Benoit, Guerrero, Malenko, who would also come over. But then when WCW came around, snatched all of them up. There was definitely some hype around the WCW cruiserweight division, but I think WCW kind of failed in a way to capitalize like on how to really make it grow better. I mean, the talent was there. Ultimate Dragon, Malenko, Guerrero, Mysterio, Jericho, but they always pushed in the opening match, but never really seen like having major storylines until Ray and Eddie got hooked it up for the mask versus hair. Well, match for the mask versus the title. But would you say that's a fair assessment that WCW like like misused them or didn't know what they had?
I don't, and that's what I was gonna say. I don't know if it's a misuse because it was also they had a stacked division. Like they knew how to build a cruiserweight division. Unfortunately, yeah, they did end up stealing. Paul Heyman introduced, and WCW was like, "We like this guy. We like this guy. We're gonna take this guy. Oh, there's more. Okay, we're gonna bring them in." And unfortunately, that happens when you have a budget. When you have the budget to do it, you're gonna bring in every single person you can to build around it, and then you bring in Ultimo Dragon, who also took that style to Japan and made it amazing. And it makes sense. They knew how to build something there where, again, this is the reason why this match right here, that title for Mask, is such a big factor of showcasing that to the Americans on a bigger platform, because this was one where you got to really see how lucha and how technical and lucha wrestling are one and the same at times with how much they can do, you know?
Everyone believes that this was the match, and it could be arguably probably the match that put Rey on the outer stratosphere of luchadors during that era, especially him coming in young and fresh at that time. Big part of that is because of Eddie Guerrero. Eddie was not only one of his closest friends during that time, but was one of the key components of helping him through his time in America, getting his feet wet and becoming the success he is. How impactful do you believe that relationship between Rey and Eddie helped him along his career?
To me, it's one, like I said, they're another ones that were attached to the hip. And in real life, in professionally, you saw how much it was almost that yin and yang, where Rey was more of the clean cut, where Eddie, again, he knew his character. He knew how to act a little more, have that machismo, if you will. But when their paths crossed, it was magic at every time. And that friendship, you saw how much it worked, because there's no one better to work with in this industry than your friends. That chemistry comes off and it shows in the ring. These two, it's funny because you don't realize it till years later. Eddie never won. Eddie never won. And it's one of those where you don't realize it just because of the magic these two put together. And it definitely helped him to the point of, again, you see why Rey Mysterio went to the WWE. You see why Rey Mysterio continued on, where, again, it's that type of relationship where they knew, oh, we could do this on our platform and make it huge. To the Mania match, the SummerSlam match, to the degree of why Dominic Mysterio might have the longest career ever, because it counts. He was a kid, but that custody ladder match, that was his debut. Like,
we know how important in Lucha Libre the mask means to all the luchadors. Why do you think Eric Bischoff was so hell-bent on taking the mask off?
That who was so hell-bent?
Eric Bischoff. Well, the powers that be.
Realistically, or the PC reason he gave?
Either or.
Because the PC is, to do something different. Shocking.
Right.
Real reason, because they could.
Because it wasn't afraid that they did this to the Hoovy, they did this to Psychosis.
Legit, it was that. It was because they could, because they wanted to not just have the lucha presentation. Because to some, they still don't get it. Till now, Lucha Libre is such a, I feel like almost, it's not used as much as it should be. And it's one of those where they're like, oh, well, we love these wrestlers, but take off the mask. Let people see who they are. Let them be this. To the degree, for at least for Rey Mysterio, still worked out. Luckily, he had a very, for the ladies, very enjoyable face. That was like, well, now there's more interest in Rey Mysterio, and it worked out with the Filthy Animals, and when they brought in Master P and all that, it worked out. But it's one of those where legit you could just tell they did it because they could. Like,
it's funny that you bring that up because it was considered probably one of the darkest moments in lucha history because of the fact of how disrespectful it was for that to occur. Yes, it does. It has happened in Lucha Libre where mask versus mask matches have happened, mask versus hair and such has happened. But there's also a way of respect in which is done, in which most of the times the wrestler is unmasked, but they're covered with a towel or such, or they put another hood over the person. But in this was a blatant display of, like you said, the powers that be saying, hey, we got to move away. After a while, we started seeing other wrestlers become unmasked. We saw Juventud get unmasked. We saw Psychosis get unmasked. Yeah. But for Rey, it was different. Like you said, he made it successful, even though with it. But the most keen part about it, when he debuted at WWE, he debuted with the mask on. What was your thoughts about when that happened?
It's one of those where I was especially surprised to see them put the mask back on, because like you mentioned, it has been done in Mexico, and usually it's done in the way where it is respectful. It is done where you do it because you've chosen to, you know what? Hey, this is a match where there is the story purpose. There is something. It's emotion. They understand that. That's the whole point of Lucha Libre. The fact that, again, with this, that's why I basically said they did it because they could. Because there was no emotion. When they had Rey Mysterio unmasked, there wasn't a build up to it. It was just like, oh, we could do it. So here you go. And to see him debut back with the mask, it's like, okay. It's not commonly done. Like a lot of the guys that have removed their mask have stayed with it. Outside of now, you see like a Juventud Guerrera for his indie appearances, he's wearing his mask again. Wow. But for guys like Psychosis, especially the original Nacho, he keeps his mask off. Since then, there's been other iterations of Psychosis, different guy that's wearing the mask now. Like for him, it worked out because they wanted that. They wanted what they saw as the marketable. The mask has something,
Right, I think at the end of the day, the WWE just saw merchandise, like a lot of money that could be made off masks, little kids. I mean, it wasn't that long until when WCW closed and the Division angle went by. He wasn't there, and then in the summer of 2002, vignettes started airing for him with the masks, various masks showing up on screen. Then he makes his debut on SmackDown, where great debut against Chavo Guerrero, and in the main event angle, he's jumping off the top of the cage on top of Mandstorm, Christian, and Test, where I think there's no other way for a superstar to make a debut like that.
Nope. It was weird to see just how quick they were able to push him, but it also makes sense when you look at who was running at the time, who was doing creative, and who was pushing for a certain SmackDown 6. So
right.
The powers that be at least let the right person hold the pencil at the time.
Right. Which I want to bring up where there was definitely, it felt like there was an intention to bring Rey Mysterio in to boost the cruiserweight division that they just started up, where they had guys like Jamie Noble, Hurricane, Tajiri, Billy Kidman on the SmackDown roster, and then bringing in Rey Mysterio, who was obviously going to be the big star of the division. But he got so popular so fast that he's in the ring with guys like Benoit, Kurt Angle, Edge, Brock, Big Show, like really quick. Like, did that kind of surprise you, Ray Ben? I'll get back on his first couple of months.
It did, but at the same time, it's also comparably to some of the cruiserweights, Rey also wasn't the smallest guy when he came in. Like, he was smaller compared to, again, a Benoit or Angle. But it's like, he also had a little bit more size when he first came in compared to, again, like a Jamie Noble, who's, okay, you see something, but he's not. So it worked out that his style could hang in a ring with, again, an Angle, an Edge at the time that they would put around. That it's like, it made sense, but at the same time, they knew, hey, just because he's a cruiserweight doesn't mean he can't hang in there with a heavyweight or someone bigger, you know?
Be sure you come out and check out the squad on November 14th, Friday, November 14th, at the Mecca, Ridgefield Park, New York, for Respect Wrestling, presenting No Escape, Friday, November 14th. Don't want to miss it. Doors open at 7 p.m. Bell time is at 8 p.m. Friday, November 14th, at the Mecca, in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. Respect Wrestling presents No Escape. You don't want to miss it. Mentioned with the Big Show was the stretcher incident, which till this day I lose my shit whenever I see that. Takes a lot of balls from a talent like Rey to take a spot like that. And Rey's been taking a lot. Rey took a lot of punishment during his time in wrestling, but especially in WWE. Any other notable moments that you remember from Rey during his time in the past few years?
This one definitely comes to mind. What he did with Batista, the turn. You're supposed to be my friend. The bumps he took for that. It's like, it also helps when you're smaller. That it's like, you got a bigger guy is going to do some fun stuff because you're able to get around. Even like we bring up earlier, WCW. Him getting tossed into the truck.
Yes.
Like, you can only do that where you're certain that's like, well, here you go. And he did it. Like, people talk about the crazy bumps, like with a spike.
Yeah, he I still believe that he, Spike Dudley, that those guys during that era took a lot of punishment and stuff. But Rey was another one that was able to come back and prove that the David and Goliath matches that he could climb up to a lot of success. One of the big things was that when he was able to get that match at WrestleMania and such. Tell me about your thoughts about when that happened. We saw, like you mentioned, they were able to go through the ups and downs. Guys like Mysterio, Spike Dudley, they were able to sit there and take the bumps that they did and such. But through it all, they were able to make strides, especially Rey, when he was able to pull out the win at Rumble and then become the number one contender for the World Championship. Rey, what was your thoughts about that happening, how that came together, especially due to the circumstances of the tragedy that unfolded with Eddie's passing?
That Rumble was definitely a hard one to watch, knowing what the reasoning behind it, the reasoning of what Rey's story was going into that, what was going on. I'm sitting there, I'm probably at the time 7 around there. So it's like, as the little kid, that's like, man, we lost Eddie Guerrero. Watching this again, having Rey Mysterio be one of my favorites and seeing him start at number 2 and being like, well, he's not winning this. Like, number 1 is Triple H. He's not winning. Like, and then you keep going, and it's like Kane comes in late, like early on. Big Show comes in early on. Chris Masters. It's like any minute now, Rey Mysterio is going to get eliminated. Oh, we're down to the final 3. How is Rey Mysterio still in here? Okay. And Rey shocking the world and getting the Rumble win. And then it's like, well, he's going to WrestleMania. Oh, he's not going to WrestleMania thanks to Randy Orton. Oh, here we go. We're going to go back to it. Triple threat match now. And that Mania was one that I made sure, because I used to just, we would buy the pay-per-view and then record it on VHS that was the one Mania. I'm like, nope, I'm staying up. Like, I need to see this match. And to see Rey Mysterio do it big and be able to win the World Heavyweight Championship from the entrance to the actual match, like it was such a heartwarming moment that even the entrance, it gave you something, because it's like you're behind him. Even if you weren't until then, that entrance, I feel like everyone was behind him at that point. To have POD come out and play Booyaka that way, then now we're all, that song is stuck in our head. It's like it's such a, it was a full circle moment. It sucks that unfortunately it takes that tragedy to put that in motion and start the waves. And to so many that now I feel like unfortunately take that away from Mysterio, that it's almost like, well, if Guerrero didn't die, it wouldn't have happened. It's like, you never know. It's the hypothetical that we unfortunately just don't know what would have happened.
But
It's been a thing that could have, but we don't know.
But to play devil's advocate, looking back, and this is for both of you, but did it ever feel like weird or uncomfortable when they would bring up Eddie's name for, especially during Rey Mysterio storylines? Because I mean, it was only in February where Randy was talking about like Eddie's not up there, he's down there. Like is there ever like a limit, or is there ever when do you cross the line a little too much?
I think with wrestling, there is, I'm not one of those who's kind of soft. I'm not one of those real snowflakes. So for me, like a lot of times, I'll just hear something and I'll go, "Ooh, that's not gonna get over with a lot of people." Like I know that there's that mark, and we've heard it numerous times. I thought that when you want to get heat, you want to get that fire going, you're gonna have to dance in that area. You're gonna have to do that. And I was never really offended by the whole, the Eddie comments and such like that. I just thought that I was more like, okay, I hope they get the approval from the family before it's said and done. That's probably the only thing that I was really conscious about. But as a fan, no, you gotta dance on that. You gotta dance on that line. You gotta play around and say, you can't make it not a subject matter. That's actually what's gonna fuel the storyline.
Yeah, agreed. And it's the biggest thing with it is, unfortunately, I think in wrestling, especially when you're someone that's been in it, I think that's something Eddie would have wanted. Like, of course, bring it up. Like it's gonna make money. Sadly.
Listen, let's be real here. Eddie is claiming that he fucked Rey Mysterio's wife. I mean, how beyond the line can you get? You're saying that his wife is a fucking whore. Like, I mean, come on, let's be real. There's nothing more disrespectful than that when it comes to, especially in the Latino culture, and you're considered a cabron. No, it ain't gonna fly in many households.
With the amount that Rey Mysterio has mentioned how much of a ride or die his wife was. So for you to say that, oh, she stepped out on him with someone that at the time we're considering his best friend.
Right.
Like, damn. That Don Omar song was about you.
Yeah, exactly. Right. For real.
Like, and it's one of those where, yes, it's like, oof. It's slow, but again, it's one of those where I agree with Jay. As long as the family approved, which years later they've mentioned it was something they were asked before it just happened. It's sometimes it's just fair game at that point,
Well, that's fair, but then everybody's been content videos about Rey Mysterio's run, how it should have been booked better, because it wasn't the best run for his first World Title reign. He would lose to Mark Henry, Kane, Khali, JBL. And then he would beat JBL, made him retire. Then around this time, Rey Mysterio started to develop knee problems. So, would you consider his style at that point starting to catch up with him at this point in 2006?
When you started wrestling at 14, it's gonna unfortunately catch up to you eventually. Like that's another reason why they say, and starting training so early when your body's not where it needs to be is gonna be problematic. Anyone in this business, there's a reason why they keep saying, you have a bump card, you have this, because this shit fucking hurts.
Right.
Like anyone that's been in there knows after a few years, fucking the neck starts to feel away. Your knees definitely feel away. And you have to remember Rey Mysterio was doing the West Coast pop. Like he's landing on his knees. Like that's why he doesn't do it anymore. He said it. Like he would love to do it. He felt like he still could do it. It's just with the way his knees are, he wouldn't get up. And even now with stem cells, it's not a risk he wants to take. Like,
yeah. Speaking of the West Coast pop, especially or the 619 and such, especially with the 619. There was a time when Ray was not with the company. He had moved away for a little bit, and unfortunately, he was part of a tragic event that occurred in Mexico. Can you give a background and thoughts about that as well?
Rest in peace, Pedro Aguayo Jr. That situation, it's such a, as much as doctors have given their thoughts on it, and everyone by now has seen the video and seen what occurred. We still don't know what happened. You know, there's nothing that really points to was it this, because it certain things don't make sense. You know, the fact that he was able to get back in the ring if he was already, because the way they clinically said he was dead once he was out of the ring. But then it's like, well, no, the whiplash, and it's like there's a million things. But unfortunately, the Pedro Aguayo situation where while in the motion of this drop kick to go for the 619, it would cause a whiplash that then would tragically take him out. And it's a very somber note. It's a very dark note that unfortunately it puts a very hard burden on Rey Mysterio that for years people blamed him that he's a murderer. As much as the family also has also said they don't blame him. This is unfortunately it's the risk, you know. Pedro Aguayo, like I said, is Pedro Aguayo Jr. His father was also someone very well known in the business, also someone that again has put their body on the line, took the risk. It's the unfortunate scenario of it that there's not been, thankfully, many that have, but Hayabusa is another one that unfortunately died in that squared circle. You know, like it sucks and it's sad to see. I remember seeing it that was one of those where the next day in school, it's like, did that really happen? Because again, we blur the line of, this is supposed to be predetermined and this is supposed to be that word that I don't like to say about wrestling. And you see something like that is really, it's fucking real, you know? And it's a life-changing moment having to watch that, you know?
Yeah, another incident of occurring with Ray that just becomes like what the fuck moments in his career was on the I believe it was in 2011 on the 25th of July where he won the tournament for the vacant WWE championship and on the same night lost it to Cena. What was your thoughts about that?
Horseshit.
You know how now we're finally seeing John Cena's turning heel? John Cena turned heel on that night. Like we know what happens after you do the Shawn Michaels razor. You bring out both guys that have the belt. Boom, boom. We set up for that. But it's like, did we really need to give Rey Mysterio the title in general? Then, like, how do you give a guy like that you want to talk about a company guy that was down? Is Rey Mysterio, because the fact that he agreed to, yep, I'm gonna win it and then lose it the same night.
Right.
And then this isn't the first time they do it because they do it with him with Kane. That it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have him cash in the same night he wins the briefcase. Which luckily, at least the title reign was a little longer at the time. But it's just like Ray can't catch a break. Like that moment, it's just like out of everyone, for it to be Cena that does something like that, it's like, damn.
It was definitely weird around this time where, like, going into 2011, I mean, like pretty much he was out for 06, 07, pretty much a good, like, full year between those 2 years. Then 2008, 9, 10. He was around, but never, like, he was in the big events, but never like, the true like I mean the face of the company. Like he was always like put in those big spots. But then like towards like 14, where like it felt like they really started to devalue his star power, where he just throw him in there for random stuff. I mean, he'd be dealing with the Big Show for tag team title matches, where like he'd be challenged for like random titles, and then the Royal Rumble, where unfortunately he wants to Daniel Bryan at number 30, and he gets booed out the building. But I think until like when he showed his face up in Lucha Underground, where like it was kind of like a career resurgence, where it was kind of like when we see a new Rey Mysterio, he's got fresh new knees. It was something very special to see. And then 2018, he comes back in the Royal Rumble, and ever since then, he's been getting. I mean, right now he's hurt, but he's been firing on all cylinders. Great storylines. I mean, the only thing right now, I think everybody is kind of like doing without could be with the LWO, but that's different people's opinions. But I think as far as like his second run, like, does it like redeem or does it like or does it solidify what his first run established?
To me, I say it does, especially he had the time to almost just re-solidify who Rey Mysterio is, you know? Like even that run after Lucha Underground, and then you get closer to his return, bro, he was on the indies having amazing matches. Like one of the last matches he had before he came to the back to the E, it's him versus Loki at JAP. And bro, if there wasn't a match that tells you, oh, why is Rey Mysterio now in the E again? Like him and Key fucking kill. Like that same year, he's doing that match with Key. He did the match with Red, which was the dream match that everyone wanted at the time. And it's like, okay, what is Rey Mysterio doing on the indies? Like, why is the company not giving him money? You know?
Yeah, from 2015 to 2018, he had a tear. Like he was on a great run. I mean, he had he was in Qatar, he was in XWA, he was shit, and he even wrestled for What Culture's wrestling promotion and their cup. I mean, he was on a run. Remember, he even showed up for the All In show. Ray didn't stop. You know, even though everybody was like, "Oh, he's got to rest the body. See if we get those knees worked on." Ray kept cranking it out. The big thing that you guys mentioned was the young upstart show that people became a cult classic fans of was Lucha Underground, and the talent that he was mixed in. Ray, you watched during that time. What was your thoughts about him in Lucha Underground?
I thought it was a perfect show for him because it gave him the chance to work with so many younger talent that idolize the Rey Mysterio. Like I think by now it's commonly known. Prince Puma, Ricochet, was someone that idolized the Rey Mysterio. And you could see the inspiration of it. You have him working with a Ricochet. You have him working with a Santos Escobar. You have him working with guys that you could see the little influences that it's like they're getting that coaching there because now Ray's there. You get him working with a Phoenix, a Penta. Like you get that time frame where it's even just being there. Like Jay, this, how many guys once a vet's around, you take like a sponge and you listen, and learn. And there's so many guys that getting to have that, especially someone like Rey Mysterio that again has been doing this for decades upon decades and has done it with the biggest. Like it's something that time I know for many have talked about it is just priceless. Right? Ricochet even talked about it when he with MVP recently on his podcast. He talked about how much just that meeting with Rey Mysterio meant, and then getting to work with him and talk with him and just pick his brain and be like a sponge. To me, it worked out so well. And you saw how much that it put the rocket on so many afterward.
Yeah, you're able to get under that learning tree under somebody like a Ray, and and by then he's already got 3 decades in the business. He's already cranked out so many big title matches, and many people have said when they approach him, it's very humbling experience, and he's just an approachable guy who's able to share his knowledge and his wisdom of what's going on, and which with that being said, with him being able to tear it up, we spoke about his return in 2018 to WWE. He he's able to capture the United States crown, but down the line we hear some rumblings that there's possibly a next generation Mysterio who's about to join the fray. What was your thoughts about them finally bringing in before we know him as Dirty Dom, bringing in Dominic Mysterio?
Realistically, my first thoughts were, oh, so Rey's almost done. That's what I thought. I thought the fact that Dom is coming straight into the main roster and coming into a spot where at the time I know it was more of, oh, we introduced him with Brock and all that fun stuff. But then when he was actually, oh, he's going to be doing this a little longer. Oh, so Rey's hanging it up soon. Because for anyone that, again, if you're going to continue on and have that, oh, your son wants to get into this, that writing's on the wall that this might be ending soon. For me, that's what I thought. Because it's like, well, a lot of that era that I grew up in, you see it. So many are retiring. At the time, Edge had already retired. So we're thinking, well, there we go. It's like little by little, But now to see what it's become, that's like Dom is killing it, has become his own thing, where you have this moment here that we never thought would happen. Of you get Dom turning on his pops right there and turning on Edge. To see Edge in a WWE ring with both of them again, it's Also, at the time, we find out that Edge has been helping him so much with fine-tuning some things and working on the character. Again, Dom got to learn around the best, and having your pops be Rey Mysterio might be the best advantage someone could have, when it comes to learning this business.
Yeah, we've all known Rey to be the super baby face, although we try to forget his time unmasked in WCW with that run. But yeah, exactly. But we've always known him to be the super over baby face of any company that they've walked into, and to find and see that his son becomes now probably the most hated but also most loved characters and gimmicks in wrestling right now. Was that a sharp turn to the Mysterio legacy, or was that something that just was in the cards because of such a great fan base Rey Mysterio had of himself?
I think he needed it. I think you need something like this because of that. All we know of Rey Mysterio is the babyface. All we know of the Mysterio legacy is that. And if you want to be on your own and you want to be your own person, Dom needed that. He needed something that gives him the edge. He needed something that makes him not Rey Mysterio Jr., We needed something where, okay, if you're Dominic Mysterio, who is Dominic Mysterio? That's all we need to see. And having this moment that it's not just him turning heel on whoever, it's on a guy like Edge, a legend in the business, and then attacking your own pops, attacking Rey Mysterio. And then the feud that sparked, to have the match that they had, that they were able to do something at the stage of all stages, And it's one of those where I know there's so many that agree that maybe that should have been the end. That could have been a perfect way to do the send-off. But hey, it's something where now we have Dirty Dom, and it's a believable thing. Like, Dominic has become who Dominic Mysterio needs to be. He's not just a shadow of, oh, that's Rey Mysterio's kid,
Well, since his son turned on him, he got a new family, and that new family is the LWO. Some may say the run right now is hit or miss, but my opinion, I just believe that it's a still working faction because of the fact that Rey, like I said, will be 51 and still be able to go when he needs to go with the business, and still be able to share that with the likes of the up and coming right behind him, who many of us already knew, Dragon Lee and the other talents that's with them. I mean, honestly, we don't know how long Rey's got it in the tank, but where do you see Rey from here on out, from in probably the next 5 years?
next 5 years, again, because he has the NWO, I could see him at least maybe another 2. But in 5, it's sad to say, but I see Rey Mysterio taking his rightful spot as a retired Hall of Famer. And he deserves that, man. He's had such a historic career, and he's had something where there's so many now where, again, in that LWO spot, it's perfect. Like, he's getting to help so many there. Now that they have this, not even a partnership, they bought it. They own AAA, the biggest lucha libre promotion out there.
Right.
I know that's up for debate depending on who you ask, but still, when you think of lucha libre profesional, AAA is one of those that always come to mind. And the fact that they now own that, and who is basically their brand ambassador being Conan, it does help to also have Rey Mysterio also be the front head of something like this.
Right.
So in those next 5 years, I see Rey Mysterio taking that role where you almost have Rey Mysterio be the guy that you don't need maybe to always fly in Shawn Michaels and that over there. Just fly in Rey Mysterio. Like, he's already showing he can do it. The speeches he gives, it unites the crowd. That's like, get ready to watch a WWE version now of AAA. And I think he's that guy that he will know how to help continue the evolution of the business. Like, it's already showing what he's helped with guys like the Dragon Lee, the Santos Escobars, the Cruz del Toros, or this is his new name now, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those where you have that influence, and it's for the best, man.
Yeah. So go ahead, Mike.
I think when it's all said and done for Ray, there's definitely a couple of bucket list things where he definitely wants to accomplish. Where one, he definitely wants to put his son over as the big dominant heel, or maybe Dominic turns into the next top baby fish, but we'll have to wait and see on that. He's praising Dragon Lee as the next luchador, where I think right now Dragon Lee definitely needs more time, but Ray definitely wants to keep helping him out. And I think with this AAA partnership, where, like you said, it'd be a perfect ambassador for them, where we've seen them already go over there and pretty much just put the brand over and tell people that Lucha Libre is here to stay, no matter what people think of this partnership. But I think for Rey Mysterio's career, where they put him he's already in the Hall of Fame for WWE, the Lucha Libre Hall of Fame, Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame. All his accomplishments have been pretty much set in stone, where a lot of people can't argue that he's one of the greatest luchadors in the business today.
Yeah, I think the company will be and wrestling alike will be left in good hands when that time comes, when Ray decides to put the hood down and claim his rightful seat and get his ring for the Hall of Fame. But you look at, like we mentioned, guys like Dragon Lee. You look at guys like Penta, Ray Phoenix. You got Santos Escobar, and all those guys, all of that ilk, and even guys from other companies who are still tearing it up out there doing lucha style. The one thing that is always going to be remembered, especially for those who are in the know years ago from wrestling, is now as whenever they see somebody who wrestles under a mask, the first person they're going to think about is Rey Mysterio, and that's going to be the lasting legacy that Rey leaves with you guys. Before we close it out, lasting legacies, I'm going to ask the questions, and let me see if you guys know the answer to this. All right? So, World Championship Wrestling. How many times did Rey win the WCW Cruiserweight Championship?
I'm going to say 3.
I want to say
Ray?
Dos.
2. Rey Mysterio won the Cruiserweight Championship 5 times.
Okay.
How many times did he win the WCW World Tag Team Championship?
There was once with Kidman, no?
Once with Kidman.
I'm gonna say 3. Right. I'm gonna say 2, but I'm gonna say 3 because I think the Cruiserweight Tag Titles also count as well.
Not counting the cruiserweight tag titles, but yes, he won the tag team titles 3 times. One with Kidman, one with Conan, and one with Juventud Guerrero. Next up, how many times did he win the WWE Championship?
Once.
Ray?
Once that he lost at the same damn night.
That's correct. How many times did he win the World Heavyweight Championship?
That's going to be no.
The 4?
Ray?
Dos.
That'll be correct. He won it 2 times.
Really?
How many times did Ray win the IC title?
Twice.
Ray?
I want to say that was 3.
That'll be correct. It's twice. How many times did he win the US title?
That was once, I think.
I think it was 3.
That will be 3 times he won the US title. So the man has everything under his belt, including a Hall of Fame, including a 21-time Triple Crown champion. Oh, I mean, excuse me, he was a 21st Triple Crown champion and a 21st Grand Slam championship. So the guy's he's got a lot of stuff going on with him, and the best thing for him from here on out is to enjoy the time that he has ring wise.
Agreed.
And wow, and even won Rookie of the Year in 1992. Can you imagine that?
Makes sense.
At 1992 to think again, but now 2025 and he's still doing it. Like,
insane.
Yeah, that's an amazing accomplishment. But that's gonna wrap us up here for our trip down memory lane with our guy Rey Sanchez, who it so happens his favorite wrestler is named the same as he is.
Yes.
So Ray, what we got upcoming and what's going on for you in the future? Because I hear there's something happening soon, but I'm not quite sure people know about it. Let everybody know what's upcoming.
Like Mike introduced me earlier, I have now decided to do this crazy thing and start up my own promotion, Respect Wrestling. We had our first event this past July 19th. You can catch it now on youtube.com/respect the craft. Our next event will be live in New Jersey at the Ridgefield Park Mecca, the Knights of Columbus, 106 Bergen Avenue, where you can catch Respect Wrestling presents No Escape. At the time of this recording, we've already announced guys like Jordan Oliver, Richard Holiday, Kevin Blackwood, Lena Cross, our current inaugural Respect heavyweight and women's champion, Dr. Sleep and Sammy Chaos as well will be making their first championship defenses. And we have so much more to come. So be there, get your tickets, and join us because we got so much more in store. So,
Mike, what else will we have up and coming besides possibly moving some stuff around due to your hectic schedule coming up?
Yeah, we're hopefully pushing out more history and Headlocks stuff, and hopefully I'm not sick for the duration of all these episodes going forward. But Jay also has Tropical Tabloid on the New York Wrestle Media as we just rebranded everything going forward. But there's a lot more stuff on New York Wrestle Media like this, during the announcer's table, under the ring apron, and also me and Jay are watching old Howard Stern clips with wrestlers appearing on there, and that is something very interesting that everybody should check out after checking this episode out.
Yeah, especially the fact that we found out that Stephanie might have liked it in a certain area. Hello.
Yes.
So, guys, as always, thank you for checking in for this week's episode of History and Headlocks. And as always, check you guys in a second. Sit, turn type, sit. Good boy. Ruff.